The observation deck of the Celestial Harmony buzzed with the usual mixture of species. Velcrin diplomats with their crystalline exoskeletons, Thorian merchants whose tentacles moved in constant negotiation, and a handful of humans scattered among the crowd. Anna Chen stood at the viewport, watching the binary stars of the Kashari system paint the metal hull in amber and violet. Something tugged at her utility belt. She glanced down at the small creature that had attached itself to her hip for the third day in a row. The Kashari cub, no bigger than a house cat, pressed its scaled body against her leg, its 6 golden eyes blinking up at her with what she'd come to recognize as contentment. "Still there, Shadow?" Anna murmured, adjusting her belt so the cub could grip more comfortably. From across the deck, Jack Morrison approached with 2 drinks in hand, his expression caught between amusement and concern. "Anna, you know the Kashari elders are going to have something to say about this eventually. Let them." She accepted the drink, some kind of fruit synthesis from the station's dispensary. "Shadow chose me, not the other way around." Jack sighed, running a hand through his dark hair. As the Celestial Harmony's xenobiologist, he'd spent the last month studying Kashari behavior patterns. Nothing in his research explained why this particular cub had fixated on a human engineer with grease under her fingernails and a habit of talking to machinery. "Kashari cubs don't just choose people," Jack said carefully. "Their social bonding is incredibly complex. When they attach to someone, it means Shadow likes me." Anna's tone was final. A rippling laugh echoed through the deck, the Kashari equivalent of amusement. Elder Theshkar approached, his adult form towering at nearly 3 meters, his scales shimmering like oil on water. Unlike his smaller kin, he moved with the deliberate grace of a predator who'd long ago transcended the need to prove his lethality. "The human calls it Shadow," Theshkar announced to the gathered aliens. More laughter followed, though not unkind. "How appropriate. The cub follows her like darkness follows light." Anna straightened but didn't remove Shadow from her belt. "Is there a problem, Elder?" "Problem?" Theshkar's head tilted, a gesture that meant curiosity in Kashari body language. "No, Engineer Chen, fascination perhaps." "Tell me, do you understand what you've done?" Jack tensed beside her, but Anna simply met the Elder's multifaceted gaze. "I fixed the environmental controls in the Kashari quarters. The temperature was fluctuating and cubs are sensitive to—" "Not that." Theshikar's scales rippled with colors Anna had learned meant emphasis. 3 cycles ago, when the radiation leak occurred in subsection 9. "You went in," Anna shrugged. "Someone had to seal the coolant line before it contaminated the whole section. I had the suit and the training. The radiation would have killed most species within minutes," Theshkar continued. "Your exposure time was 17 minutes. We calculated an 83% fatality probability. Humans are stubborn," Jack interjected, "and apparently lucky. Luck." The Elder seemed to taste the word. "Shadow's parent was in that section, trapped behind a collapsed bulkhead with 3 other cubs. You pulled them out before sealing the breach." Anna remembered. The adult Kashari had been unconscious, her body curled protectively around the young ones. Anna had made 4 trips through the radiation-soaked corridor, her suit's alarm screaming warnings she'd learned to ignore. The last trip had been for Shadow, the smallest of the group. "Too weak to crawl. I did my job," Anna said quietly. Shadow chirped, a sound like wind chimes in a storm, and pressed closer to her hip. "Kashari cubs bond with those who exhibit pakresh," Theshkar explained. "Your language has no equivalent. It means the courage that protects the helpless, the strength that shields the weak. Shadow's parent died from her injuries 2 days ago. Before she passed, she marked you." Anna's throat tightened. "Marked me? With scent, with memory, with trust." The Elder's scales shifted to deep blue. Respect, Jack had taught her. "Shadow will follow you because his mother's last act was to designate you as worthy. In Kashari culture, this is the highest honor, to be chosen as guardian by a dying mother." The observation deck had gone silent. Even the usually boisterous Thorian merchants had stilled their tentacles. "I don't know how to raise a Kashari cub," Anna admitted. "Neither did we. At first." Theshkar's laugh was gentler now. "Cubs teach you as much as you teach them. Shadow will grow, Engineer Chen. In 20 cycles he will stand as tall as I do. His claws will be sharp enough to pierce starship hulls. His strength will be formidable. And he'll still probably cling to her belt, Jack muttered, earning a genuine laugh from the assembled crowd. Theshkar's eyes, all 6 of them, fixed on Anna with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. We have watched your species for 3 generations since first contact. Humans are young, reckless, fragile. You break easily, die quickly, and yet, Anna prompted, and yet you run into radiation leaks to save children not your own. You fix environmental systems at 3 in the morning because you hear a cub's distress cry through the walls. You call deadly predators by pet names and make them family. The elder's scales blazed with colors Anna had never seen, gold and silver threading through the blue. This is why the Kashari Council has voted to support humanity's petition for a permanent seat on the Galactic Assembly. Anna blinked. Jack's drink slipped from his hand, caught by a helpful Thorian tentacle before it hit the floor. Because of shadow. Because of what shadow represents. Theshkar gestured broadly, encompassing the observation deck, the station, the stars beyond. Every species here has strength. The Velkrin have their logic, the Thorians their commerce, my people our tradition. But humans, his scales pulsed with that gold-silver-blue pattern, humans have Pakresh. You protect what is small, defend what is weak, and call the lost my shadow as if claiming them makes them less alone. Shadow chirped again, content and drowsy against Anna's hip. So yes, the elder concluded, everyone laughs when you call him Shadow. But it is the laughter of recognition. We see in you what we aspire to be. A species that measures strength not by what it can destroy, but by what it chooses to protect. Anna looked down at the small creature on her belt, then out at the stars that humanity had only recently begun to explore. I'm just an engineer, she said softly. Yes, Theshkar agreed. An engineer who carries a shadow and calls it family. That is enough. Jack stepped beside her, his hand finding her shoulder. Looks like you're a mom now. Anna smiled, adjusting her belt one more time so Shadow could sleep more comfortably. Guess I'd better learn Kashari lullabies then. The observation deck erupted in that multi-species cacophony that passed for approval. Thorian tentacle clapping, Velkrin chiming, Kashari laughter like rolling thunder, and through it all Shadow slept peacefully, clinging to the belt of the human who'd run through radiation and darkness to carry him to safety. In the end, perhaps that's what humanity brought to the galaxy. Not superior weapons or faster ships, but the simple, stubborn insistence that no child should face the darkness alone. Not even someone else's child. Not even someone else's shadow.